those discoveries. Just recently, we verified reports from one company in Monserrado here from the Artidon area, one company that discovered a good deposit of gold. We verified that. Our technical team was able to verify. They submitted their report from the exploration. Our team went in and sat and verified. So you have Bear Mountain project, and then if this other one comes up, so you'll be talking about, I don't know how much you'll be talking about. Of course, you have the Dube Gold Project. Those of you from the southeast, Hummingbird Resources came here. They obtained a mineral development agreement, concession agreement in 2019. That concession agreement, nothing was being done. The company decided, because they have projects in Mali, they have projects in Guinea and somewhere else. So, but then they left the Liberian project and focused on those. So when we took over, we engaged them. Why did you acquire our asset to keep it? And then they say there are projects in Guinea and Mali or all that. I say, oh, so you could take risks in Mali, where there is a military administration, where there is near political instability. But then a country like Liberia, which is one of the most stable places in Africa, guaranteeing your investment, you decided to keep our asset idle, and then you do that. We are giving you, we want you to come back to us in short period of time with your proposal, your plan, because you have to do feasibility study and give us your plan, your development plan. That company started working on that. Of course, all of them were not happy with that because there was a leadership that was pushing them. We're not doing it because we hate companies. No, but it's our country. It's our country. And if you enter the Ministry of Mines and Energy, you will see quotations from the president that he made in 2023, December, after the election. That quotation, we put it up with our own quotation so that every time we went to work in the morning, or it reminded us that, hey, we have to work towards resource custody. There can be no sovereignty. Sovereignty can be meaningless without custody over your resources. Sovereignty is meaningless without custody over your own resources. And nobody will come from anywhere to build this country for us. Only Liberians to build it. And nobody should deceive you. We don't have lack of capacity, technical capacity. I will cite one instance. The World Bank, in fact, we had this management services contract for LEC. And the LEC had CEO, COO, CFO, and all of that. Some of them were foreigners. But then, so much. And the idea was Liberians did not have the capacity, or they could not find the technical capacity in Liberia to be able to run the Liberia Electricity Corporation. When we took over, we said, no, that's not true. We have. So the president mandated us with his support and approval. We decided to restore the Liberia Electricity Corporation to a statutory structure. We started a vetting process that we chaired as the Ministry of Mines and Energy. We chaired a recruitment process last year, and then we received about 70 applications from professionals, Liberian professionals, both at home and abroad. Today, I'm proud and we are excited that there is a very dynamic management team at the Liberia Electricity Corporation that the country is celebrating. It didn't happen by accident. It happened with determination from a leadership that was truly committed, meant what it said, and said what it meant. That's how you transform a country. By being intentional, by being realistic, by being honest. Because you see, in order to continue to serve your country, you should be able, the people should trust what you say, what you do in a particular time. So, my dear people, the energy potential, I haven't even touched the energy potential of our country. We have the hydro potential. And those who are electrical power experts, they will agree with me that our hydro potential, so far, the only potential we know about our hydro potential, the only information we have through feasibility study is about the St. Paul River. But when we took over, we said no. We try. We can't just focus on one river when we have so many rivers in the country. So let's know the potential of those other rivers. So we were able to push for a pre-feasibility study to be done along the St. John River. And as I speak to you, that feasibility study has discovered that, has revealed that along St. John River alone, there are 4 possible sites for hydro projects. And we are situated. Guinea just recently installed, they just commissioned a 300 megawatt power hydro power plant. So why can't we do that? Why can't we do the same? We can do that. We are capable of doing that. All we need is that commitment, that genuine commitment. So I can go on to, again, I will continue to emphasize, please read our handover speech. Please take interest in it, read it, because it's intended for us to have a genuine national conversation. Yeah, it's time for us to be realistic about our country and be focused. This country can become what it was established to become. And I'm not pessimistic about that. I'm very optimistic about that. This country can fulfill the purpose of its creation. Liberia can be a great nation. Liberia can be richer than all the countries around us here. Liberia can achieve financial and economic independence. Liberia can be a rich country without hesitation. Why do you think people are rushing here? Why do you think foreigners come here? We need to do that, and we need to push so that our country can achieve its purpose. So I will want this to be a conversation. So having made the introductory comments based on the question you asked, somebody asked, the question I hope I answered that. You said why you were dismissed and all of that. I don't have to ask the president why he decided to tell me go sit down. Let's be realistic. Only one person was voted in 2023 for a 6-year term. So he asked me last year, we must go and spearhead these 2 sectors. I went there. If in his judgment, he said, oh man, I think right now you can go sit down. So why should I ask about Mr. President, why you want me to go sit down? When I didn't negotiate for it. So please, this is not to ignore your question, important though as it is, but I'm not the one to answer that. The only answer I can give is that it is not how long one stays in office. It's what you have done or what you did while you were in that office. And the liar, in our typical Liberian way, the liar can say, my witness is way across Pool River. My witness is right here. You can verify everything we have said here. You can investigate that. And the employees of the ministry, they are also there. Those who are stakeholders in the industry, in the energy sector, they too are the ones who can say that. So, you can't evaluate yourself. So I leave it as a challenge for you to evaluate me for those 17 months that we served, what we did, what we achieved, what we are leaving behind. Take into consideration what we inherited, because it's good for you to know where we were when you know, as Bob Marley said, if you know your history, if you know where you are coming from, then of course you definitely will have an appreciation of your future destiny, where you are headed. Otherwise, if you don't know where you were yesterday or where you are coming from, it's not possible for you to know and have a clear roadmap about the future destiny that you could be seeking. So I want to thank you for this opportunity. For all, as I said, this is my maiden visit to your center. So I wanted to be conversational as always. And I'm not one public person in Liberia who feels offended when I'm criticized. I'm not one person who feels angry when somebody even insults me. Because you see, the only idea that is not expressed or that doesn't make sense is the idea that is not expressed by somebody. So if somebody says something to me that in my judgment I believe does not make sense, I will have to counter it with that which I believe makes sense. So I want to stop here and then going through your protocol, allow maybe questions and answers, as today is Sunday. Many of you will be preparing for tomorrow. Let's have a conversation. Let's ask all the questions that we believe are necessary for us to have a genuine national conversation. Thank you very much. God bless you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for your well-learned deliberation. You know, this afternoon you have really touched our soul. You know, there are things that is in the cloud that have been darting up, and you have made it clear. I believe what you said. Liberia is very rich. We can be rich if we want to be rich. And we sit on so many natural resources, and we are still dangling. We are still struggling for survival. We are still living in actual poverty. Poverty exists not because we cannot feed the poor, but because we cannot satisfy the rich people. There's a reason why poverty exists. So this time, we will give you time. We will give you time to ask the question. But please, as we said previously, you have to be moderate. You have to be kind in your comments or questions. And we will not give you more than a minute. So please, if you want to ask a question, you ask. Please, you will not be saying two things at the same time. And we will not allow for one person to ask more than 2 or 3 questions. One question to a person. So I would like to stop here and start to recognize people for questions. Okay, let me take Terakomo.
Good afternoon to all. I want to take this time to say a big thank you to the former minister. I've been doing it for a very long time. I was born in a mineral area, place called Bapolu, specifically in Yangaya. In recent times, there was a survey carried the some geologist went there to carry out verification, and it was mentioned that the Kimberley process from Cape Mount Cross in Yangaya. Having said that, my question here is that, Honorable Minister, you have said it all. During the Unity Party time, you served a chairperson for the Unity Party. And because of your strong belief and where you wanted for Unity Party to be or to move forward, you was able to expel the former president, Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, from the party. Moving forward, he was also selected to serve as chairperson for another political party, which of course you decided to leave. I don't know what happens there. because of your stand and you want for this country to move forward. While it is true you have not said or you have not told us the reason why you are removed as Minister of Mines and Energy. My question is, if only a government reconsider her decision to make you an ambassador, for another country, will you accept to serve your country?
Okay, we will take them a batch, 3-in-1 batch. Yeah, Pastor.
Yeah, thank you very much. My name is Umaru Tolokia Zulu, resident of Flower Town community. My question has to do with, I want to understand from the Honorable Minister. There are local manners in our countries. If you go to Cape Town, you have some people, you just see them in bush, money, or you ask them what you are doing here. Sometimes that produce even lesson to indicate that the Liberian government know them. Because our concern is, those areas that they are digging, it have become death trap for our people. So I want to know how these people are operating and how people can get lesson from your entity at the time to become a legitimate or legal person.
Good afternoon to all. Let me say a very big thank you to our luminary guest for your proclamation. Your proclamation has just ameliorated my research, and I'm delighted for that generosity. Free education. Now, my question has to do with this. During your tenure as a Mines and Energy Minister, I believe you were faced with some challenges. Among these challenges are: one, you insisted on revising the Mineral Development Agreement with ArcelorMittal to ensure fair terms for Liberia. You also demanded a significant increase in licensing, I'm sorry if I mispronounced it, in licensing fees from $500,000 for 25 years to $1 million annually for Class A miners. A move the company reportedly opposed. Do you care to tell us your intention behind the increment at the time?
Thank you. I will begin with the last one. You know, when it comes to, I'm very passionate about my country. And this is not something we did singularly, but we did in collaboration with a strong team that was determined, and also in cooperation with other relevant ministries. Sometimes when I'm talking about this, sometimes it's like, it pains me. Yes, it pains me. Beginning with Class A, you know, for those of you who don't know, the ministry for the licensing scheme, the licensing process, you have Class A, we have to do a EBB concession, and like Beer Mountain, Bauchico, Western Cluster, China Union, ArcelorMittal, and all the big companies that must first come do exploration, meaning do research, investigate, find a resource. If there is a mineral there with economic viability or worth, then declare that to the state, and then request for negotiations, and the negotiations can lead to a concession being awarded for development. That's what he's talking about. There are also there is a license for medium scale mining operations. We call that Class B. For Class B, that's medium scale, semi-industrial. And then of course, then you have You have the small scale, the artisanal people. We call that class C, and all of those. So that's why he's referencing. I just wanted, to let you know what that is. For class A, a big company, the ArcelorMittal, has been paying $50,000 to renew license, for license. But guess what? And here is the problem. $50,000, and that $50,000 that the company paid is locked up in a concession agreement. So it means the company as big as ArcelorMittal is paying $50,000 for 25 years as license fee. Divide 50,000 by 25. I'll be empirical, so I want somebody to do it. Just divide 50,000 by 25. 50,000 by $2,000 per year. So that's why a company as big as ArcelorMittal pays for a license to get a right to our asset, our important asset, depletable asset. They call them the non-renewable resources. Next, those Sierra Leone, and everything we did, we benchmark it, we check what's happening in other places. Meanwhile, a Class A company in Sierra Leone pays $1 million and renew their license every year. Right here, next door, Sierra Leone. So we didn't just wake up one day to say, you know what, that company paid this. So what did we do? We said, we reviewed the fee structure. Fee structure for mining licenses. The last fee structure, which we just replaced, was formulated as far back as 2013. So we said time has changed. We need to update that. So following consultations with stakeholders, Ministry of Finance and others, we introduced, in June this year, we introduced a new fee structure to replace the 2013 fee structure. In that fee structure, Class A companies like ArcelorMittal will be required to pay $500,000 before production. That means you have acquired the mineral rights, you have not started production. So because you have not started production yet, you pay $500,000 the moment you start production. $1 million every year. And we said license should not be locked up, because license is a regulatory tool. If license is a regulatory tool, why put it in a concession agreement for 25 years? When all of the other small people, the medium scale and the small, they are renewing their license every year. So why should big company like that pay money only for 25 years? So we wait for that. We said no. We have to review that and we have to reconsider that. Because license is a regulatory instrument. Therefore, if a company has a Class A license and they have their concession agreement, and the concession agreement has terms that they have to comply with, and they are not complying with those, when they come to renew, the ministry can say, but from the reports we have, from the concession agreement, the implementation, what we're hearing and what we are seeing, what we have verified, you have not done A, B, C, D, so we cannot renew the license until you meet these requirements. Go back. And then they will be afraid because why? They don't want that reputation, because they are shareholders in Europe and other parts of the world. We say, but why are you operating without being in compliance with laws of that country? So we say, no, let's remove that. There was nothing wrong with that. But we knew that, obviously these companies have their own way of resisting. But if you cannot deal with the elephant in the room, then why suffer the small scale people? Eh? If there are companies here because of their status or their peak in name and all of that, you can't touch them, then why you simply say, let just be everybody, let everybody just do what they want to do. So the ministry is the referee, and the referee should be even-handed to deal with them. We want investment. True. We must protect investments that are in country, but at the same time, we must also position ourselves to attract new investments. You can't come in my apartment block and you are renting one of the apartments in my block, and then you say no other tenant will come in. Then how am I going to benefit from my investment? So this is why we changed it. And we didn't change it because we hated a particular company. We changed it because realistically, Liberia was doing something that other countries had improved, and we needed to improve that. You learn from what happens in other places. I'm coming, you're coming. Then you also talk about the concession, the approach that we wanted. We even want, there's more that we wanted done in that area. A company like Beer Mountain, I don't know how many of you know that Beer Mountain is producing cement. They produce the cement they use, right? Then we say no. It shouldn't be. You are undermining local cement producers. You were given a license to mine gold. So why you want to produce cement? If you want to build road or all of that, buy cement from here. Anything in construction you want to do, buy cement from here. Then the economy will grow. The cement industry will develop. We can create more employment opportunities, more revenue stream through that. What is wrong with that? You didn't come here. You came here. You acquire mineral right to mine gold. Then you want to be doing different things. We said no. The very ArcelorMittal produces water and distributes in Niba country. Those who are from Niba, when you go to Niba, they produce water, they share it. Then we said no. Your mineral right, except for the water that you extract to process your iron ore. But you cannot produce water to distribute. So you are also undermining local water producers. Liberians need to produce, and so what is wrong with that? So ArcelorMittal, instead of you producing water to distribute to the employees, buy water that is produced by Liberian local producers. Then we didn't stop there. We said, you are here also to mine. You say you're building a plant. You need electricity and all of that. We should not put in the mineral development agreement a provision that gives exclusive right to any mining company to produce their own power, their own electricity. Because we want the energy sector to be developed. Today, when you go to Lanco, to Yekepa, there's this company, this company about Meta being here for 20 years, the housing unit, they are not developing the housing sector and all of that. We said, okay, we as a country, we should take that portion and make a provision in any mineral development agreement that you company, you are obligated to provide housing, but the way to do it, we're not leaving with you to do it. So housing authority can set a standard and regulation in consultation. They can have and build those units. All you need is housing facility to be built for your people. That's how you grow country. What is wrong with that? There's nothing wrong with that. We say change that. We say we should change that. The last one, which many of you might not have heard, which is important for me to underscore, is that ArcelorMittal has a 25-year agreement. That agreement ends, the current contract ends in 2030, September 2030. Negotiations. We said, why Do you want a third amendment? Amendment, I'm not a lawyer, but amendment means this existing instrument during the course of the life of the agreement, you are revising it to add something to it or to take. But it is the same agreement. But we are saying no. When the contract comes to an end, you negotiate new agreement. A new agreement is what we should negotiate, which makes a lot of sense. We are not demanding anything unreasonable. When contract ends, all of us here, when you sign contract and the contract comes to an end, you negotiate new contract. Eh? So why is that different? There's nothing wrong with that. So that's our position, and we don't apologize for that, because after all, these people, as I said, they will, and then we say value addition. Value addition. Liberia has been exporting. In fact, I just used the Botswana, the example from Botswana. The real money in these minerals that are being extracted from our country, the real money, the real benefits are in the industrial uses. That's where the real money is. It's not in the raw material you extract and ship outside. So what we are actually doing is that the iron ore is taken from here, the gold is taken from here, all the other minerals are taken from here, but then we are growing other economies. Because that's where the real jobs are created. Sustainable jobs are created in those countries. Not here. Because yours is just to be the mean. They just take it and then they carry it. So there's nothing wrong in that one as well. We have the rail, multi-user rail for that. And one of the things we also say is that, and I use this example, how many GSM companies did we have here during and immediately after the Civil War? One. Only Lone Star we had. Lone Star, when Lone Star was here, I'm told, because I was not here, I'm told, because when I came, one SIM card was $65. That's the lowest I was told, but I understand before that it was $85, it was even at $1.100. $65. Today SIM card is how much? $50. Why? Why did we get to that point? Competition. Competition. Competition broke the monopoly. And today, Liberians, customers, are benefiting from that competition. So we need competition even in the mineral sector. We don't need one company. We don't need two. We need more. If you have in Nima or in Cape Town or in other parts of the country, you have more iron ore mining companies, more gold mining companies, then we will begin to look, because they will be competing. The standards will improve. The other companies will be required to see what their friends are doing, because then the standards will, and the more competition a country encourages and promotes, the better it is for that country. What is wrong with that? We are not making any unreasonable demands. Somebody talk about ambassadorial rank and all. I don't like to address hypothetical instances. Why is this happening? Unfortunately, I'm not the appointing power. I don't know what the president might be thinking. So I can't sit there and say, this is what will happen, or this is what will not happen, or this is what will happen. So please, forgive me. I don't have any direct answer to that question, because, as I said earlier, I didn't appoint myself. It was a privilege that the president accorded me to serve my country. Local minor illicit activities application process, I talked about that. Application, you have to go through application. And some of the things that are in the new fee regulation that we issue, which you need to know about. You always hear about local content. And please go on the ministry website, Ministry of Mines and Energy website. And please, you can remind me. I will send it to you people so you can display, your people can look at that. There are more things inside than what we are talking about. A Class B mining company was paying $10,000 US every year to renew license. Class B. Today, according to that regulation that we issue in June 10 this year, on June 10 this year, a Class B company is now required to renew license to pay for $50,000 US every year. And they are paying, they're not complaining. They are paying, they're not complaining. And we have also included, many times we complain that the companies come here, they bring foreigners, they work and all of that. So we also included, we have included provisions in that fee structure. If you bring a man manager to Liberia to work, who is a foreigner, that man manager will pay you the company or the man manager will be required to pay $50,000 US for permit, which will be renewed every year, compared to a permit fee for a Liberian man manager, which is around about $2,500. And the reason is we talk too much about foreigners taking advantage, they come here and taking our job, but we have to be innovative. We can't discriminate, but we have to be innovative. And we introduce all of those for consultancy. Our people need, and the jobs are in these areas for our people to be able to access. So I think I have tried my best to explain that illicit activity, and I like the emphasis you put on the illicit activity. And this is what we said, the way to address illicit activities is to make the ministry to be effective, to be present in the counties. Well, the system we inherited was this. Cape Town, Apollo, Bomi, they were placed in one group they call region. So we want regional coordinator, somebody responsible for the 3 counties. The same thing across the country. We said no. We said no. We have a decentralization model in our country that we can use. And what is the decentralization example that we can use? Take the Ministry of Education. And the Minister of Education wants to know the status of education in Grand Cape County. There is a county education officer, and that county education officer supervises education across the county. There are district education officers who report to the county education officer. Then under the district education officer, there are school principals that report to the district education officer. And then there are teachers below the principals and all of that. So the Minister of Education can sit right here and take a telephone and call and say to County Education Officer of Grand Cape County, I want to know the number of high schools operating in Itewa District. And the CEO can just call the DO, and the DO can just, at the stroke of a pen or click of the phone, just translate that information for policy decision making. In the case of the ministry, it was not like that. So we said, no, let's replicate this model. And if we can just do that across all of our government, we don't have difficulties. So illicit money, most of the time we focus on the foreigners that come. And this is the message that we communicated to all the people across the country. Do you think that a foreigner, say a Chinese or Indian or Nigerian or Ghanaian or whoever, will just leave his or her country, get on a plane, come to Liberia, and land in Liberia through whatever transportation means, just move straight to a remote part of Liberia and start mining? It's not possible. It is in collusion with Liberians, and sometimes in collusion with influential people in society. Sometimes even in collusion with some officials. And they go to the community, they identify those illicit people, go to the community, they identify few hard-headed men who have strong voices in the community, maybe some youth leader or community leader, and they just put them on some kind of thing. Every month they give them something, and then right there they compromise. That's why we said no, it shouldn't be that way. If it is illegal, it should not even be encouraged. We say the community should resist that. If anything, when somebody is operating, if it is a Class C, the license duration is for 1 year to be renewed. And it has to be, they have to show it to you. And even if they show a license to you, it's not enough. You should make sure you verify that. Because nowadays, in fact, some time ago, there was an incident. I was in Washington, D.C. while attending the World Bank annual meeting when we got information that somebody came from Nigeria and then they were duped. A Ghanaian duped them, but then when they came, instead of working with the ministry, seeking the king they met earlier, and we advised them what to do, but then when they went, human beings will always have the tendency of looking for, the shortcut. So a Ghanaian duped that person $744,000 US. So when we got the information, I asked them some basic questions. I want to read the question so you can know, because since you mentioned this illicit thing, it's important for me to talk about it. As I said earlier, I like to be very empirical with what I say. And I will read my own. Then I said, this was October 15, 2025. They should disclose those they transacted with because US $744,000 could not have been given to unknown people. Where is the contact person that they had in Liberia in all of this? I thought their contact person is in Liberia. Where is that person? People in the areas where they transacted should know some of those potential investors there with. We need to know that. Then I said, how did they obtain a fake license? Who issued it to them? Where was it issued? If they met us and we advised them what to do and how to do it, how did they end up dealing with people outside of the Ministry of Mines and Energy? And they felt guilty about that. So you see, illicit activities, and the thing is that maybe some of our people, sometimes people blame it on poverty, but the small money these people are giving and they're bribing their way and they're making the community, sometimes they go to community, they just give something to the community, and the people in the community think that they are doing them a favor. It's not favor. The people are using you to cheat yourself. So we said, no, resist it. Don't do it. Don't allow it. Let a complaint come to us. So it's very important. Illicit, something is illicit, it means it should not happen at all. Because the ministry was created to regulate. And you regulate by issuing license. So the people you issue licenses to are people you know. You can hold them when they go wrong. But the illicit people, you don't have documents on them because they are illegal. They are not authorized to operate. So they should stop it. The community should be able to resist them. So this is the only way I think I can respond to the issue of illicit activity. So maybe we can take the other three again and then continue.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you. The media get question.
Thank you. Check. The media get question?
But we get the hand over.
No, but I have question.
I have press conference.
Thank you. So I'm D'Souza, I'm John D'Souza, and I'm a resident of Dole community. So Chief, I'd like to appreciate you for your deliberation. But my concern is tuned to the same lessons. Is it a law under the mining sector for a lesson to be given to an institution to mine in the heart of the city? I ask this question because there is this mining company between Dole community and battery factory in the Two River. So it does a law under the mining sector that permits that.
Media team, we after the second batch.
So the minister just said something, and then others in front of questions. So I'm Hugh Barnes, Yimpa, and I report for DNS Liberia. Minister, basically I listened to you speaking particularly to the fares of the concessionaire companies referencing the accelerator, of which that due to concession more fares should be increased from 50,000 to 1 million per year. I do believe this is something that was done in the interest of Liberia as a country. I would like to know from Minister Payne that were these recommendations put forth to the President of the Republic of Liberia? If so, what was his response to the recommendations? And follow up to that, basically following your recommendations to the President of the Republic of Liberia to increasing these concession companies' fares, do you think these companies do have the hands in your removal as Minister of Lands, Mass and Energy, following your strong stance to increasing the concession fees per year?
Thank you. Thank you.
Good afternoon to every one of us. Minister, my question. I want to know if whether after you talk about the Ministry of Mass and Energy, I also want to know what are some of the challenges we saw there in terms of development, past government, and what have you done there when you were there as the Minister in terms of development?
Thank you. Thank you. We'll get back to the Minister for the second part.
The last question, maybe you are not here when I spoke. That's why I encourage everyone to read the handover. There's a reason why we documented the handover. So you know and have a fair appreciation of what the ministry works, what these sectors, the mining and the energy sectors were, as at the time we assumed leadership on March the 21st, 2024. The reason we did that is for records to remain, for people to be able to reference. That is going to give you a fair appreciation. And I said, we share that. If you give me your contact, I'll give it to you, you read it. Because it's a whole lot. It's a dossier of what we achieved. And I don't want, after saying something, then somebody asks again, what did you achieve? Then I come back to it, then it becomes monotonous. But I encourage you, what we achieve, as I said, progress, and that's my style, that's my attitude towards leadership. Progress can argue for itself. I could stand here and name things and say, I did this, we did this, we did that, we did that. But you can verify all of those. The ministry is right here. From here, from the community, Clarendon, sorry, to the Ministry of Mines and Energy. If I use one example, I said the lion can see in our Liberian way, and we need all the way across the Pool River. So the ministry is there. When you have a ministry where we have even a site clinic, which you don't find anywhere in any institution, a site clinic. We just built a facility to host a site clinic for employees that will deal with emergency, first aid, and all of that. Because people go to work, and then sometimes they have common headache. Sometimes something just happened, maybe they are feeling they are not too good, then they can just go somewhere and relax a little bit. That is there. Why do you think we're doing that? Because we want to improve productivity. It was never there. It was never there. And so I just said that because when I spoke earlier, I didn't mention that. I just wanted to highlight that. But the progress we achieved there, which my team knows, I always say modest progress, is verifiable. It's not something we are saying that is distant, sitting somewhere on an unknown planet. Then somebody talk about infrastructure, whether you brought the issue of mining taking place somewhere. Is that battery factory or yeah, battery factory and community? You know the minerals and mining law of Liberia of 2000 prohibits mining activities anywhere in close proximity to infrastructure. Even shrines. Maybe there's a traditional Sunday society area somewhere and all of that. Because that law is sensitive because it takes into consideration our environment. So anywhere where there is a residence, where there's residential quarter where people live there, why are you mining there? And if in any case there should be mining, then people will have to go through the requirement for relocation, resettlement, all of that. Just as we have been pushing for Pierre Martin to do in the Jikando area of Grand Kimon County. So mining can take place. For example, right up here on Coleman Hill. You know Coleman Hill? Right, Coleman Hill where you have CWA, right? That's Coleman Hill, right? Good. If I tell you that that is a high-grade iron ore deposit, you will not believe it. That's a high-grade iron ore deposit. But can you mine it now? To mine it, you have to look at the economic value, the infrastructure that is there, and to be able to pay for those and resettle and all of that. So money is not bad, but you cannot do it just anyhow. That's why improving our regulation is very, very important, and not just having instruments on a book, but making sure that those instruments are implemented. And somebody talked about whether we recommended to the president for regulation. No, I didn't say we recommended. I said we introduced a regulation that is enforced, meaning it passed a level where president approves everything. So it's in implementation now. It's in implementation. A fee structure of 2013 was replaced with the new fee structure of June 10, 2025. So it's a law that is being implemented. It's not a recommendation. It's not a recommendation. So the $1 million that a Class A mining company should be paying after production is not a recommendation, it's a law. Only implementation is required. The only thing you can't do right now is ArcelorMittal will not pay it now because you have to wait for their concession agreement to come to an end in September of 2030. Because the agreement is already there, ratified by the legislature. So you can't change a concession agreement or mineral development agreement with a regulation, because it was ratified by the legislature. So I just wanted to make that clarity so people cannot misquote that. But I know companies, and we must accept that the people who come here, they're not coming here because they love the country. And whether it's ArcelorMittal, Pierre Martin, they come here to make money, to look for money. So we too, who have the asset, we should position ourselves to benefit so that we don't become the losers. Yes. So obviously, left with them, if we don't have left with them, they will not even want to pay taxes. You don't think so? They want to even extract it free of charge. And just walk and just take it and then just carry it. But we have to say, no, you can't just take it. All right? You have to, it has to be even Steven. All right, so whether my removal was based on, my removal, as I said, and you know our 1986 Constitution vests appointment power in the president. So I think we should be, since this is an intellectual center, we should be careful not to make assumptions that will appear as if our country, which is 178 years old, does not even know what it is doing. That a company can come from any part of the world and come and say, you know what, to your leader, move the person, they move that person. Then you are insulting us as a country. If you a citizen can reason like that, then you are insulting us as a nation. What we need to do is to make sure that the companies that come here operate in line with our law. And I like to say this: if you invited me to your house, and I enter, and you know the whole place is wet, you and I walk to your place, and I see you enter the house, you just pass through the mud with your shoes and everything. I am the guest, the stranger, and then you enter. You enter with the mud, everything on you. When you enter, I follow you. And then you went in the room, and then you sat in the sofa with all the wetness and the mud, everything, in the carpet thing. You are actually showing me how to behave in our home. And that's why we must tell the people, this is how you behave here. This is the Republic of Liberia. And let me tell you, no company will run away if you become rigid by upholding your law. Because why? As I said earlier, they are not here because they love the country. They are here because you have something they need. The industries of the world need what you have. How you think they build the ships? How you think the skyscrapers in Southeast Asia, Europe, around the world, and other places are built? They are built using steel products. And you have those. So if you have the material that can produce steel, that can be used to produce steel, why you think any company, your destiny is in any one company? And I will end with this. Earlier this year, and the reason I will set examples on some of these big companies is because they are the elephants in the room. ArcelorMittal announced to you and to the world that they had just constructed a $1.4 billion US processing plant, concentration plant, beneficiation. That means they process the ore even from the lowest grade. They can improve the grade and all of that. Even the wastes, because today there are no wastes even in mining. The waste can also be utilized. All right. So what did they say? 1.4 billion. If you follow when it's in the Senate Senate hearing involving ArcelorMittal and the Ministry of Mines and Energy and Finance Ministry, this is what we said. We said the plant that Mittal said they were commissioning was still under construction. And the Senate posed a question to ArcelorMittal, they validated that. So in other words, why you lie to us? That the plant is commissioned, even as we speak. As we speak, that plant is not in operation. What they are doing now is they crushing. They're doing crushing. They're taking here and there and crushing and they're exporting. I mean, what is sickening is that a company will come to Liberia and try to insult our intelligence. And when you say, no, let's do the right thing, then they will go through some few Liberians and they try to make it to look like, you know, they go, what is that? You are not doing things right. You are not doing things right. And this is why we want a genuine national conversation about how to do our... Right now, the world has changed. No country anywhere on this planet will give you money to develop your country. No country. In fact, countries are looking more inward now than ever before. That's why you say That's why USA withdrew all their support, because the US government has adopted a new foreign policy approach that is based on commercial interest. What you have, what we can get from what you have, instead of development aid, they want trade, which is what some of us believe in. Trade. Let's trade based on what we have. What do we have? All these resources, how we can harness them, how we can develop them, how we can benefit from them. Young people can leave university and then they can't find employment in their own country, but you have a whole lot of foreigners come and then they just get jobs. And I will add this. Last year when we went to the legislature to discuss the budget, this is what we proposed to the legislature. And today sometimes it pains me when I listen to some members of the legislature and the Ministry of Labor arguing over work permit. We proposed, and you can quote me, because it was public hearing during the budget. We proposed to the legislature, when this question came about foreigners are being brought into the country and they are taking jobs Liberians don't have. In fact, the company is supposed to have a certain period of time. They're supposed to be, and we say, wow, Labor Ministry is issuing work permits. Everywhere in the world, in most countries around the world, in fact, in all countries, work permit is not an instrument for revenue generation. And we told them, there's something people can quite forget. We told them, don't assign revenue targets to the Ministry of Labor and the Liberia Immigration Service. Why? If you assign revenue target to labor, they will have to generate it. Right? How will they generate it? By issuing more work permits. That's the only instrument, that's the only way they can raise the money and achieve their revenue target. Likewise, Liberia Immigration Service will have to issue more resident permits. That's the only way they can raise the revenue. But if you don't give them revenue targets, then what you are saying is that they are not going to issue resident permits and work permit to foreigners, because if they are not issuing it, which company will bring anybody here to work? Nobody. They will be required to employ your people, to recruit your people. So why is it difficult? That one, you don't need new law for that. And just common sense you need. Just common sense. Why we make simple things complicated? Why do we make simple things complicated? We make it appear as though, you know, Liberia, when Ghana became independent in 1957, 10 years after we have become independent, the first country that assisted Ghana with technical support to set out their civil service was the Republic of Liberia. Why are we behaving as if there's no knowledge, we don't even know what we are doing? That's why the president has always insisted. Some of you need to have the opportunity to sit with him and you have conversation, then you will know what we're talking about. But it doesn't mean that all of us who work in government, who have the privilege in government, actually genuinely love our country. Because the tragedy of Liberia is that everybody goes into government, but not everybody necessarily, genuinely wants to work for transformation. That is the tragedy. And that's the tragedy we must correct. Because the president is just one person. He or she will never know everybody. But he will give you the opportunity, the privilege to serve. If you went in hoping that, oh yeah, you know, our men were here before, my men 18 years, they're out in the town. For God's sake, how much money do you need to live? How much money do you need to live? And those of you who are Muslims and Christians, I'm a Christian. I belong to the Seventh-day Adventist Church. And this is something I will throw to you. What does the Bible say is the average lifespan that God gave to you? 70, right? That is 70 years. So if you are 50, technically, you have 20 more years to live, right? So if you build all the huge structures like Tubman and all these people did, it means you are now wise. Because those of you who are going to Maryland, those of you from Harper, when you go to Cape, where Tubman built his house, and you know, if you check, you will see that he used to, whenever he rode a yacht from Monrovia to Harper, you know, the water there, from where the yacht will stop all the way to a residence, the water is very shallow. It's not deep. But that joker, whose birthday we are still celebrating, had the audacity to sit 4 men, 2 front, 2 behind. They will have that joker will sit on their shoulders while they walk in the water because his body is too good to touch the water. What kind of nonsense is that? Eh? And you say you are president of a country and you riding your own people like you riding horses, and we are still celebrating his birthday every year, when in the time he was president, Kwame Nkrumah built the Akosombo Dam. Kwame Nkrumah decentralized education in Nigeria to the extent that the best institutions in Ghana are outside of Accra. He decentralized education. And then you want me to continue to celebrate his birthday. He went to Todota and told all that land and built something on the road there where he used to come and just hang there. People come and adore him. Today what has happened? What is that? And I would throw this joke and then say, my dad, my late dad, one time we were having a conversation. He told me about something which he thought would have excited me. He said, there was a man called Jim T. Phillips who was finance minister of Liberia. I know some of you must have heard or read about him. He said this man had a place in Kwenyi, Nima County, just before Gompa City. He had a farm there. So my dad said, this man used to carry aircraft to the farm. Plane, private jet. He used to ride private jet to the farm. So when he told me, then I frowned. He said, but why are you reacting like that? I said, but that means he was not a farmer. He said, what do you mean? I said, all in my sojourn, my travels around the world, I haven't come across any farmer that rode in an aircraft to his farm. He said, so what do you mean? I said, this is what I mean. If this man has struggled through sweat, honest hard work, and I like to underscore that, honest hard work to acquire wealth, do you think he could have purchased a plane to carry him to the farm? No. But because it was the state resources that he had access to, so he didn't give a damn how he used it. And then my father said, now I understand your argument. This is it. The building in Harper Central man died. Who sleeps there? Who sleeps in it? Because sometimes it's good for you to go around see your country. Especially since this is an intellectual center. Go and see your country. One pillar on that building that Tubman built in Harper, sitting right on a cape. One pillar, the cost of one pillar, I'm sure can build this structure. One pillar on it. But today nobody lives there, nobody sleeps there, since Tubman turns his death. And yet, we are still celebrating those people who contributed to the backward state of our economy, who in their time, when the cost of building 1 mile road, the cost of building 1 mile road was $25,000 at that time. Do you know what Tubman left for his widow? The money he left for his widow, $420 million. That's what he left for his widow. So if you divide that by $25,000 at that time, then it means that Liberia could have constructed more than 16,000 miles of paved road. And you know what that would have meant? Everywhere in the country would have been connected by a modern road. Everywhere. Everywhere. And this is why I am no apologetic for past governments. I don't care our era. And that is why I'm consistent. Not because I hate them or I hate the people who were in position. Because I desperately wanted to be among the numbers, so I criticize people. No, that's not me. Maybe I'm a different kind of Liberian. And I'm proud to remain so. That no era, no system, no situation, no desire can transform. I will be me, and I will remain to be me, because my mission, and all of us, our mission should be that we create a country that is far better and pass it on to the next generation. If the country we inherited, if we don't work to make it better than the way we inherited it, then something is fundamentally flawed about us. So, my dear people, I think maybe we can take one more question if there's any, because it's been a long time, and don't mind me, we can sit from now to next morning, because I'm passionate about my country, and that passion in me burns. That's why when I was running for the Senate, many people will say, but what can you alone do among all those people? Look, one person, one genuine person can be a powerful influence. Because good can be contagious. Good can be contagious. If I were to be a senator, trust me, I will carry a revolutionary approach, not to condemn those who are there already or how they have been doing, but presenting alternatives that they can see. For example, as a senator, and this is part of my agenda that I was pursuing in 2023. Firstly, as a senator, you have the opportunity to employ people. I think around 17 or so, maybe 22. For God's sake, what will 22 people be doing sitting down in one small building on Capitol Hill? Year after year. For 9 years. What will 22 people be doing there? So here was my approach, and here remains my approach. Instead of 17 or 22 people, I will use our structure, our governance structure. I will recruit somebody who will be my focal person for agriculture. I will have somebody who will be responsible for education. Somebody who will be responsible for youth. Somebody responsible for women. Somebody responsible for health. Somebody responsible for all the relevant sectors as our government is structured. You realize that you will have reduced the 22 people or so to maybe around 7 or 8 or even 10 who are being paid well, who have a responsibility to go to the community. The person responsible for education will make sure that I am informed about the status of education in Monserrado County when it comes to secondary school, when it comes to vocational school, when it comes to higher education and all of that, early learning and all of that. And the issues from there are documented, Likewise, a person responsible for agriculture. Likewise, a person responsible for health. And then we will have conversations. They will come and present those on a regular basis, and that will inform what I do in the legislature. Once you begin to do that, the rest of your colleagues who may not understand how to do it will begin to follow your example. That's how you drive transformation. Not by going to just conform. You just allow the system, instead of you fighting to change the system, you allow the system, you just adopt to the system as it is because you benefit from it. My people, we need to have a different approach, a different way to look at our governance. Let us stop trying people with leadership. Let us stop voting for people because we speak the same language. Let us stop voting for people because we come from the same background, because we belong to the same fraternity or whatever. Let's vote for people based on track records of performance over the years, even when they were in community. You know, it's shameful. And I tell you, I will not call the name here. Just this weekend, just between Wednesday and now this weekend, there is a senator of our country who was in Yekepa. And the moment the senator landed there, the people alerted. What do we make our country to be like this? You go to a company when you're supposed to be holding the Ministry of Mines and Energy, the National Investment Commission, Ministry of Justice, Ministry of Finance, LRA, the National Bureau of Concessions, to know the status of the project the people are implementing, and you are sneaking to go there and compromise the interests of your people and think you are being clever, you are being smart. That's treasonable. That's a betrayal of public trust.
Thank you, Honorable Minister.
Of the former minister
Our time is past spent.
Who has
And time is procrastinating because of time. We would like for
specifically
the minister to have
other
the proper rest. You know, he has talked to us on issues. And I believe that we have digested some of the issues that and some of the concerns that he has raised. For this reason, I am only going to take one more question. One more question. One more question. If you are opportune, so be it. I take it.
Good afternoon, my fellow CRC members. I am G. Dino B. Dolo Jr., a resident of Dolo community. I actually overheard this program when I was in my residence. So I came here to attend to see my ministers because it is a privilege to see my ministers today. It is one of the ministers that I've been knowing for a long period of time, but he don't know me in person, but I've been following his record. He's one of the tangible ministers we have in our country that actually stand for better upward in our country. As compared to Mr. Tue of the LPRC. But when I overheard that my minister was dismissed, you know, it never shocked me. Because I know my minister, he is a man that went to school, he learned, and when you are going to school, you know you want him to go to school. So definitely when you have been dismissed for one job, you have a lot of jobs await you. And when I take my physical look at the Ministry of Lands and Mines and Energy, the Ministry of Lands and Mines and Energy were on a better situation as compared to the University of Liberia. But my minister took that ministry from nowhere and brought it to the stage today. Minister, my question goes to you. If you was a president in this country and had a minister that is very potent, that work for national interest, not the interest of party, not the interest of personal incomes within a understanding, but the interest of the national concern. Will you dismiss the type of ministers who have a major outpost in this country? My big question to that is that, Minister, are you simply trying to tell us that this government and past government are also prioritizing red this over national incomes?
Thank you. That was the last question. Honorable Minister.
All right. No question like that. Hard to answer. Because I'm not president. If you were president, I'm not president. So it's hard. Maybe if I were, because I have not become president, I'm not president, so I will not understand. All right? So, please, again, I'm not president. And I think we should, when we vote leaders, we should respect their judgment at a particular time. We all are, we love football, right? All of us here, a good number of us here are fans of football. When does a coach replace a best player on a team? Is it only when the other player, is it when the player is not performing well? Is it necessarily only when the player is not performing well? No, right? Sometimes a good coach, a very successful coach, will make some hard decisions using his or her judgment, best judgment. It does not mean that that player is not performing or is not scoring goals. But only the coach can make that determination. So only the coach, because the coach is the one that has his or her prescription for that particular match. I don't know, and honestly, and this is very sincerely from me, I don't know why the president made the decision he made. But I said I cannot question him. But the good thing is that there's no rancor. There was no rancor. There was no disagreement between the president and myself over any policy issue. Because all of these things are introduced that I announced here would not have been possible if we didn't have that rapprochement, that working relationship, if we didn't have that authorization. And maybe I should say this. I know there are many good people in government, many of them were connected, but last year the president offered me 2 roles. And I'm saying it here not because I want to make news. He offered me 2 roles to choose from, not to choose, but according to him, this is the time for us to put into practice what we have been saying. And so I compared the 2 institutions. I saw that the challenges were greater in the Ministry of Mines and Energy, and then we reasoned together and he took the risk to appoint me. I'm grateful to him for that. I don't know what other things he might be thinking. So, again, I don't want to say much. I don't want to preempt or judge prematurely or try to imagine or think about what might have informed it. The president was elected, and from time to time, he decided to make the decision. So I have accepted that, and I didn't have to agree or disagree with that. He didn't promise me a tenure. He didn't promise me a tenure because unlike other entities, the commissions, the ministers do not have tenure, and they serve at the pleasure. Even though some people sometimes say will and pleasure, but in the 1986 Constitution, there is nothing there called will and pleasure. It's only pleasure. At the pleasure, it means at a particular time, the president can decide and say, okay, you know what? I think you are served well now for this period. I think you need to step aside. Let somebody go in. Maybe let's test the system that you have built to see whether it has reached to the point where it's resilient somebody else going there. And sometimes it's good for you to sit back and see what you have built. But trust me, the ministry we're leaving behind is not a ministry that anybody can go there and just say, let's go back. When people have tasted something that is progressive, that is productive, if you go to them and try to take them back, they will say, no, no, no. The system can self-regulate and resist. So what is important is to build our institutions and make them strong enough to outlast us. The system